Yo, what's happening? We are back in action. I am back training upper for the first time in 3 weeks. I gave myself a 3 week break while I was getting 2 massage sessions a week just to really get the lat into a position that it kind of needed to be. Obviously, I've been injured for a fair amount of time, but I've also been training through it, which is never going to be the most sensible option. I just didn't want to take time off, but that 3 week spell has now kind of helped it to feel like it's healing a lot better. I can flare my lats. Now it's just a case of just getting contraction back there because the left side doesn't really fire. So I might go down to the gym, train pull, I'll record something for you, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it afterwards.
Yeah. Lately, death's been getting ever so close. Been feeling spirits while I'm driving, I should get me a ghost. Growing up, didn't know the difference between the road and my home. Now I'm grown, I'm trying to buy every home on my road.
I kind of came down around 2 kilos a week for the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Really?
So yeah, I'm not far away, but that was. But I brought my photo shoot forward, so that's in 2.5 weeks on Friday.
Your hammies and glutes don't look far.
Takeaway's been over-rinsed, I need a chef to come and live with me. Last time I picked up a pot, I nearly killed a fiend. I don't see a potent rapper out there that can mirror me. When I gave my kidneys to these kids, you must be kidding me. Do you remember playing Operation? Yeah.
Fucking water you hold it.
Yeah. You can see it as well.
That's how I feel about these compilations. I think they're the next Dr. Dre until they lose their patience. Saying the game's in a statement, that's an understatement. I mean, how much more gems can I drop on the future? How much of my fans might just not buy my new stuff? We all got bars, but nobody hears a brew. I bring in sandwich to the beach in the hope of finding tuna. This is nonsense. Past tense. I'm a rap genius. I've passed sense. So if you ain't got a 2-1 or you ain't free to, you gotta graduate before you pass Rex. We got off on the wrong foot because you half step. Meanwhile, I'm getting restless because I can't rest. 21 hours I'm awake, the other 3 I'm in.
So since it's the first time training lats in a while, or back in a couple of weeks, I'm going in and I'm resetting numbers. So I'm basically going with anything that was probably progressing and it was at a level where it probably needed tidied up, pulling it down a little bit, and I'm just focusing on traction, 2 count in the sort of shortened position, just to reset it, and obviously with having an injury, just kind of slowly build it back up. Also I started Recomp today, so it's a good time to do it, and then we'll start to just slowly increase volume, intensity and load as we go. So if you'll just have seen there, I was doing a low row, like dual. You'll probably have seen Vaughn doing it standing. That's going to hit a little bit of lat, but with the elbow path that I'm driving, it'll mainly be sort of mid-back. I've got quite thick lats, so it's more density that I've got to bring up. What you will notice though, that pause in the sort of shortened range is very hard, but what's a positive is I've not used this machine since December, and that was 5 kilos off what I was doing before, but with a pause. So that's good progress all round, and no pain so far, so touch wood. And then I'm going to go on to a single arm standing isolateral row. So that the session was actually real good, and I'm super happy with it because for anyone that's not watched me for a while, my lat's been injured for like a year. I've not taken time off, which I know obviously you should, but it's really difficult. Those 2.5 weeks not training upper is actually the longest I have not trained like a body part for in about 10 years. So you can imagine how difficult that was, although I was training arms and legs. But I went through that session, everything felt smooth. There was no pain on movements apart from one, but it was like a 3 out of 10 rather than a training throughout the whole session was 7 out of 10. Because basically over the last year, I've been training through pain, but I've just kind of got accustomed to it. Whereas that was actually just a real smooth session. Now it's just a case of just rebuilding the ability to contract, because that lat on my left lat just wasn't firing. So I could do the movements perfectly, and if you watch them, you'd think spot on, but I'm not getting the contraction needed. So it'll almost just be relearning that. And from there, with the numbers being reset, I should be able to just build it up and just then be in a position where my training's the best it's been. So that's win-win. And from here, I should really be able to spend a bit of time just nailing that. Then I can go back to just getting as strong as I can. We are on day 3 of the tidy up phase. I'll go into more of like an actual breakdown of the gaining phase next week on the vlog. So like start position, how it finished. Just because I think that'll be a cool sort of way to set it up and go through how we ran it over the last 10 months or so. But here is how I'm currently looking. So this is the end of the gaining phase on the screen now.
The days writing what to say with my last breath, can you not hear the difference? Perfect. Even when it's in your...
Now, as you can see from those photos, I don't think I'm looking shocking. I think I'm holding okay condition, but from pushing for so long, it just got to the point where it was a little bit too difficult. I was absolutely fucked in terms of recovery, digestion, appetite, all the stuff that you need. If you can't eat, you can't grow. So the aim here is a tidy up phase over, well, there's no set time limit on it, or there's no like weight goal we're aiming for. It's just bring me down to a point where appetite's firing again and I look visibly leaner. Also, we have pulled down all my drugs, so just to get blood work back in a place it needs to be, and then from there we can sort of push again. So the aim really, watch you don't get ran over, is just to sort of do that. What we have done is pretty simple. So my calories were at 4,875 on training days, and they were 4,350 on non-training, something around that. We are down to 3,200 across the week with one off-plan meal. So quite a big drop there, but obviously you have to remember that as my appetite's not really there, so it's quite a good way to pull it down and kind of just get me back into the place where that's firing. So obviously it's 3 days in, but I'm not hungry at all. The only other change we've made, drugs we've just pulled down to a cruise dose. I won't go into it because it's boring. But the only other change was steps have been pushed up to 7,000. So I work in front of a laptop. My steps were around 3,500 a day, roughly. So now we're doing a bit more steps.
System. Every time I flip the script, I got a scripture. I've seen man go from the strip to the strip club. I'm trying to go from eating rich tea to the rich club. I used to want to go from...
Just in case anyone ever wonders, I actually just pull my phone out and just film wherever I am. So if I ever walk past your house in that, sorry, or hi. And if anyone messaged me saying you sound a little bit out of breath on that last video, I was going up a gradient, and as I just said earlier on, my steps haven't been that high. As we push up in a gaining phase, you're heavier, body fat's a little bit higher, your output tends to be a little bit lower, although obviously there's a lot of added benefit from having more output in. The reason I didn't was just that anytime we pushed output, my weight would come back down, so it's kind of counterproductive. Some people can keep it in throughout, and it's obviously going to be very useful, but my fitness won't be super high at the moment. It will come up as my body weight comes down. So I won't be out of breath so much. Anyway, how do you know when you need to do a tidy up phase? Now, there's no set answer for this, but a couple of pretty obvious ones. One, you have pushed body composition too far and you look a bit shit. Two, appetite has just stalled, so you've got nowhere to go with it really. Three, you're not seeing as much progression in the gym as you were before, so you've kind of just hit a point where numbers aren't really going anywhere, recovery's off. Mine's was for the first two, so a mix of the first two. Now, I've got a sore delt because I just changed push. Mine's was because the first two, so body composition's just going a little bit too far at the heaviest weight I've been, so we can take that, and I look a lot better at 95.6 than I did at 94.8 last year. And also my appetite's just gone. So as we pull down here, it's not about a dieting phase to get absolutely shredded. It is about just priming myself to be in the position to push again. And this is what building a good physique's about. There's a difference. Remember, I always speak about a bodybuilding perspective. If you're trained in different ways, that's also cool. But in what we do and what I do, the idea is that we're always trying to have more muscle. So to do that, we can't just keep pushing up forever. If it was as simple as that, nobody would ever have to diet. So I've got to the point where we've kind of just hit a sticking point, and now we're going to pull down. I will get a little bit leaner because when I get to about 88 kilos, abs start to come through and stuff, and I'm not far off. Like I won't be far off that after a couple of weeks, or even now I'm done for 3.5 kilos in like 3 days. So that's water weight, obviously. But if you ever think I don't know if I should go into a tidy up phase or not, you're probably at the point where you need a tidy up phase.
The bitch dog, should I do a Kanye and keep it chiller? Fuck that, even when I lose, I'm the winner.
Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, you know where to find me. Next week, I will go through my gaining phase from start to finish and the sort of steps I took along the way to make sure that it was successful and also that it could be done over a long period, because that is where you will get the most bang for your buck.